readings, I'm going to quickly look at and share with you all a few key components that we've used over the years concerning planning and organizing our home education. There are 5 main components that I've kind of come up with that I wanted to put out there. The first one is pretty obvious. You want to develop a family vision, and that's based on biblical foundation. And so that is kind of the starting off, fundamental how we build. So that's the first part. The second part is to set educational goals and strategies. We do this about every 6 months. And basically, I start with what are our goals as parents. Secondly, what does the state require? And third, I want to hear what my children, what their personal goals are. It's always interesting to hear, and I like them to have a voice concerning their education as well. And so there are a few examples of what we may have set as goals for those 6 months, and then we of course make a strategy. How are we going to obtain those goals? Once we've got those goals, another component is to establish school day rules and have them in a visible location. It really depends on your family. A few things like I highlighted there would be, to have a designated workspace. Also, I require my children begin with their most challenging lessons. Also, they have to earn free time based on their progress, which we'll get into the student lesson guide, how I monitor their progress. And then they don't get their media privileges until after lunch. I'd rather them do something, a little more creative. And then, of course, they have to earn their media privileges as well. So the next component is to have a standard schedule, which I use as a general guide. It's not set in stone, but in general, the children are allowed to do their independent lessons as much as possible before 10 o'clock when we do our group lessons. When we do unit studies, we talk about news, family discussions, whatever's on our heart. And then at 11, I do the assisted learning where I'll go, one-on-one with each child and, help them out where they need help or focus on a particular area with them. Also, I like to highlight each day of the week what our primary focus will be. For example, on Mondays we go really heavy with the academics. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays we do history and a lot of student teaching where the older children are helping teach the younger ones, general things, as far as learning their colors or handwriting, just basic things like that. And then on Thursday we get into science, and I also like to do the drills and quizzes and things like that on Thursdays. And then Friday this is more delight learning. We do our different projects, arts and crafts, things like that. So it kind of eases off toward the end of the week. Delight learning is the term, that I've picked up from Greg Harris, one of the pioneer homeschoolers. And delight learning is basically just what it says, things that the children would delight in. For example, we're part of 4-H, and one of our children, she chose photography. That's what she delights in. It may be, a passion, a hobby, something, she may pursue as she gets older on the side. And then our son is studying veterinary science, and he's always been passionate about animals. So those things would be considered delight learning. The final part that I've come up with is our student lesson guide, and this, I have to admit, has changed the manner by which we flow in such a positive way. It's night and day. If I don't have the student lesson guides prepared, which I do every week, it takes me less than 30 minutes, but it's just a little more chaotic. If I've got this, which I'm going to briefly review with you, it's just smooth sailing for our family. I like to have some flexibility. I don't like to be overtly structured, but this is a very good guide because what it helps with also is it helps our children learn to be responsible and accountable. And let me show you really quickly how that works. For those who've been in public schools, you may remember having like little student planners where you can write your assignments and things. That's kind of where I got this idea. And I know there are quite a few planners out there. I have not explored too many, but I developed this one where there's 5 main columns, and you'll notice, I know you can't see very clearly on the computer, but there is a box by each of the little assignments where they can mark off when they have completed that assignment. And so let me just tell you briefly, since you probably can't read it. The first column is their personal care, such as brushing their teeth, combing their hair, things like that. The second column is their daily dues. This is what is expected every day. It doesn't change. Make sure you do so much handwriting practice. Make sure you maybe do your grammar, whatever is based on each child. My expectations for the day. And then the third column I have there is independent lessons, and those will change day to day. We may do 2 or 3 days worth of math, and then we may have another day where we're doing our language arts. It just depends. Those will change, but these are assignments they can do independently. And then over there on the fourth column, on the second half of the page, we do our group lessons. A lot of this is unit studies. We discuss news. We may take a field trip or just whatever it is. That goes there. And then on the final column, like I shared before, the delight studies will go there, things like hobbies and things, and also our home studies, which we do, we'll do a lot of gardening, yard work, things like that. Also at the bottom, I do the word list for spelling, which you can see there. And basically these little guides are folded in half, and they have a cover, and then they're put in a pouch so that the children, as soon as they wake up, they've done their morning routine, they can get to their assignments, and we have very good idea of what's expected for the day. And then the more and more I've done these student lesson guides, it's just gotten easier, and it's a continual pick up where we left off the previous week, okay? And then we assess what worked well for us this week, what do we need to adjust, how can we make it better, things like that. So the student lesson guide, again, has been a lifesaver for me. And so those are just some little ideas that have helped us over the years. So I pray that something in there would be a help to you.